I figured I would take this time to update everybody on why I never update everybody on anything, because pretty much all the posts that I ever make about anything are on Twitter, and that's just tweets, and that's nothing special. I haven't released anything in a while. Um, Really just, I kind of want to ramble about things that have been on my mind, and maybe this could be an interesting, uh, possibly important presentation. I don't really know what I would call this, but I guess I'll start with just, if you are following me, you probably know that I'm a game developer. I design games that occasionally get finished and released online, and then whatever I post is usually something very small and very dumb, like a goofy fallopian tube Flappy Bird clone or something like that. And it's just, you could get all the enjoyment that you could possibly get out of it after a few minutes or at most an hour or something. That's pretty much all I've been posting for a while, and it's not really because those are the kinds of games that I want to be releasing to the world for the rest of my life or anything. It's more just because that's what I end up finishing, is the really small projects, and also because they're all side projects. None of those are my main thing. I have a lot of ambition with game design and game development that I can't show because it's just taking too long, and that stems mostly from whenever I played Cave Story, however many years ago it was, and this might seem off topic, but I'm going to talk about Cave Story for a little bit. Whenever I played Cave Story years ago, it was kind of the first game that convinced me that games are an art form, because it brought about the unique element that games have of interactivity, and it made me feel things that nothing else, no other media had ever made me feel. And also, I was blown away whenever I discovered that it was all made by one person. Over the course of 5 years, Cave Story was made by Daisuke Amaya, or however you pronounce his name, and that was really inspirational to me. To think that one person could make something of such quality and such scale by himself, just through time and dedication. And that made me want to make my own Cave Story, basically. So about 6 years ago, I started developing an inferior clone of Cave Story. It didn't have very many original ideas at all, and it was just kind of, the controls didn't feel right, and through the process of developing this game, I felt like I learned a lot about how I should design a game and what I was doing wrong and what I was doing right, and I kept trying to change it, and I kept adding new ideas to it and making it more original and making it more polished, and as time went on, the game changed dramatically, and after dedicating a whole lot of time to this one project that kept changing and kept restarting, I thought, I've taken this so far, why don't I just take it all the way and try to develop what could be my favorite game if I wasn't the one developing it, if I was just the one playing it. And because of that mentality, 6 years later I'm still working on the same game. It looks nothing like it did at first. It's basically a different game by now, but it's still, in my head, it's the same project. And I'm calling it Project Comet, because I don't have an official name for it, and I probably won't have one for several more years, because I'm pretty much still working on the first screen at the moment, but it's kind of problematic, really, to have a dream game, because everything else that I could be working on, any other game ideas that I could be exploring, I feel like are kind of a waste, because they're taking away from this one thing that I really want to finish, and something that I know still won't be finished for a really long time because it's a huge undertaking. That's pretty much why most of the things that I release are either not of the highest quality or just really tiny and not ambitious at all, because if I spend longer than a few hours or maybe a week on something, it feels like a huge chunk of time taken away from something better and more valuable, to me at least. That's part of the reason that I canceled the Riddle Transfer series, because Riddle Transfer, if I had gone through and finished it, would have been a tremendous chunk of time taken away from this project that I consider far superior. Pretty much every day of the past 6 years have been me thinking about this game and what I'm going to do with it, and yet I've still got practically nothing. I still don't know what it's going to be. I know that I want it to be a story-based platformer, and I've finally designed the main character, But beyond that, I'm still not entirely sure what the story is going to be. I'm still not sure what the name is going to be. I'm still not sure what most of the mechanics are going to be, if there's going to be any central mechanic, or if it's just going to be all over the place. I don't know. I really don't. I started creating the actual assets for the game recently just because I was getting tired of the game not existing. Like, they say that the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. Well, I finally stopped just thinking about that first step and I actually took it. But there's still 1,000 more miles to go. Which means I sure as heck don't have a release date planned, or a release year. I don't really know if people are going to like the game that I'm making. I imagine that there will be people who will, at least. But I'm making it more for myself than anyone else. I don't really have an audience in mind, besides just I'm trying to make a game that I would play. Also, I don't want to keep this project completely hidden. I would like to post little bits and pieces of it once it's further along, and actually I've posted a few work-in-progress images on Twitter already of just the main protagonist of the game. But I would like to maybe share screenshots and little animated GIFs, whatever, once it's actually more than just a single unfinished screen. So we'll see what happens. Oh, and I guess I'll say, ideally it would be a Steam game that you have to pay some money for. I don't know how much money, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Just know that whenever I'm not doing my college studies, I am hard at work on this game, or maybe I'm just sitting around playing video games is also a possibility. But thank you for your patience. I really appreciate your support, and I will see you later.